Yeah. Sorry, guys. Well, after way too long of making you guys wait, we are finally back with the May episode of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe World Record Review. We would like to apologize for being so inactive with the making of this series. However, we have a big announcement to make at the end of both of these videos regarding that, so be sure to watch both of them because it's very important to the future of this series. Anyways, this month, actually no, it's not this month, it was 3 months ago now, we saw 34 world records broken across 10 separate tracks on 150cc, and it's about time we take a long overdue deeper dive into each one of them. And so, without further ado, here are all of the 150cc world records that we saw happen in May of 2021. Enjoy.
To start off the month, we're going right back to where we ended last month, GCN Yoshi Circuit. On May 1st, Army continued improving the track, starting with a 114 millisecond improvement to a 142.877. Lap 1 was clean until the tiredness, when he hit the left tire, losing around 75 milliseconds. Lap 2 was overall pretty good, and lap 3 was okay but had an insane second half. The piranha-ness was very fast, and at the tiredness, he barely got affected by the off-road, which had never happened to him before. Army wasn't satisfied with this run and wanted a .7. The next day, Army improved twice. The first was by 33 milliseconds to a 142.844, and then by 105 milliseconds to a 142.739. On lap 1, the shortcut was good, but the line entering the tunnel was fairly wide and cost about a frame. Exiting the tunnel, Army got a weird wall boost which gained some time. He landed very early from the piranha-ness, which made the following MT way easier to get. The tiredness was great, and introduces us to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Time Trials RNG. This is one of the only true RNG things that matters in time trials, the tire positioning. The space between the tires are random, and sometimes your kart can't even fit between them. On lap 1, Army got average RNG. The tires weren't that spaced out, but he still managed to go through without much trouble. The ending of the lap was also good. Lap 2 was an amazing lap, with the only mistake being not going very tight on the first turn. The hop before the shortcut was very good and cut off a lot. The shortcut itself was great, and he landed very early from it, which is fast. The line before the piranha-ness was very tight and was followed up by a great ness. The tire-ness had average RNG again, and the end of the lap was good. On lap 3, Army was fairly nervous, which caused him to make a few mistakes. The hop after the first turn was wide and safe, losing 2 frames, and he could have landed earlier from the shortcut. The line before the piranha-ness was safe, and the nisk itself was slightly improvable. Thankfully, the tire RNG was great. However, the SMT was released slightly too early, which gave him a pretty sloppy nisk, followed up by a pretty wide turn. On the last turn, Army barely got the SMT and achieved his .7 goal by a fair amount. The best known splits for heavyweights give a 142.749, and for babies they give a 142.555. Army says that both babies and heavies can get a .6 or even a .5 here, but he still does believe that babies are faster than heavies, though he notes that he might be wrong. Army is very satisfied with this run, so he doesn't have any plans on returning to the track for now. Congratulations Army on your records here this month.
The second track improved this month was Sunshine Airport, where on May 2nd, Alberto reclaimed his record, improving Kai's time by 31 milliseconds to set a 158.538. The worst part of this run was lap 2, which had a weak shortcut and a wide anti-gravity section. The next day, Alberto got a 158.472, which once again had a bad lap 2, but nicer laps 1 and 3. A week later, on May 8th, Kai came back and reclaimed his record, setting a 158.450. He missed a coin on lap 1, but lap 2 was still the best known split. Kai implemented a new strat here, which is to get an SMT after the first glider, followed by the usual UMT. Alberto came back the next day and set a 158.410, which did not use this new strat. Lap 1 was going fine until the glider, where he had to stop his glider momentum to get the 3 coins, losing quite a bit of time. Lap 2 had a bad low trick before the SC, so he needed to tap the brake to survive. The anti-gravity was really fast though, and this made the lap a .8. Lap 3 had a great low trick before the shortcut, and made the lap the best known split. With this record, Alberto successfully held the world record on Sunshine Airport in Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U, Sunshine Airport on the Switch in 150cc and in 200cc. Alberto is really happy he managed to finally hold all 3 of these records, even if it were for a short time, as on May 26th, Kai improved the record by 47 milliseconds, setting a 158.363. Lap 1 was very good, and almost his best split. On lap 2, he missed a low trick at the second MT ramp. The best known splits give a 158.287. Alberto says he may return to the track to try and reclaim his record, but he will have to learn the SMT-UMT strat at the anti-gravity, as improving will be hard without it. Congratulations to Alberto and Kai on your records here this month.
Up next, we have DS Wario Stadium, where on May 4th, Ster improved his time on the track by 30 milliseconds to a 151.256. This came just 5 days after his previous record, and this run actually had a worse pace into lap 3, but Ster did a left trick at the first boost ramp MT trick this time instead of a right trick, which gave him a better line and allowed him to take the turn after much better than the previous run did. Unfortunately, we don't have much else to share about this run, since Ster kinda ghosted us. The best known splits give a 151.158. Congratulations, Ster, on your record here this month. On May 7th, Paco improved his record on SNES Rainbow Road by 7 milliseconds to set a 126.448. Coming from his 126.455 just a week earlier, Paco knew he could release the SMT a little bit earlier and further between the thwomps at the end of lap 3. He also knew that making the last turn tighter and getting to the right of the thwomps would be even faster, but as this was too difficult, he aimed to finish the run by going in between them. Last month, we mentioned that the .455 was the first time he caught the trick before the single thwomp, which made him drive safely and not go for the MT before the double thwomps at the end of lap 3. In this .448, he got the new trick again and went for the MT, managing to keep ahead of his Ghost, and when the Ghost released the SMT, Paco released his too and was still in front. The .455 Ghost gets more speed at the trick because it releases the SMT further, so in the end, Paco only improved by 7 milliseconds. The best known splits give a 126.222, and Paco continued his improvements in June, so stay tuned for that. Congratulations, Paco, on your records here this month.
The next track we're going to is Electrodrome, where Nanase took Alberto's 231-day record to get his first world record in the game on May 11th with a 156.645. This record is the first on the track to use Motion Glider, which is done on the first glider of laps 2 and 3 and gains 50 to 100 milliseconds per lap. The beginning of lap 1 was fairly solid, but the second half, especially the shortcut, made it a .4, which ain't good. Lap 2 showcases the new Motion Glider well, and the shortcut was pretty nice. On lap 3, Nanase got an unlucky bounce because he landed right on the stair step, so he couldn't start the drift immediately upon landing, losing about 3 frames. The part before the second glider lost a bit of time, but he had a nice ending to the run. 2 days later, on May 13th, Alberto went on a tear, improving the record 8 times. The first was a 19 millisecond cut down to a 156.626, which was Alberto's first record with Motion Glider and was relatively weak, but gave him the record back since Nanase had messed up the lap 3 stairs. Alberto then had a big improvement by 115 milliseconds to a 156.511, which was a cleaner run, but had some flaws like a missed UMT chain before the first straightaway. After this run, Alberto stopped uploading his improvements because he implemented a new strat, Motion Glider on the second glider. Alberto wanted to get a good run before showing it. Motion Glider on the second glider saves a bit less than the first motion of laps 2 and 3, making the total save about 100 to 130 milliseconds overall. The 156.487 was catastrophic since he missed both spin boosters on lap 2. Alberto unhoarded after his improvement to a 156.337. The driving here is good, but there are a few mistakes. He didn't get much air on the shortcut exit lap 2, and he hit the first spin booster on lap 3 a little too hard. And the shortcut was slow due to entering too tight. The best known splits give a 156.272, which makes this run seem a lot stronger than it is. Alberto says he will return in the future because his lap 3 can be improved quite a bit, and even though the run is close to the BKS, he can always do better. Congratulations to Alberto on your improvements here this month, and to Nanase for your first record in the game.
A month after the many improvements we saw at the end of March and early April, Ster came back to Dolphin Shoals to cut the record down by 4 milliseconds to a 153.465 on May 12th. This run had a better lap 2, especially at the eel. On lap 3, Ster got one less trick on the eel than the previous run did. To hear more about the many strat changes this track went through, take a look back at our previous reviews. The best known splits give a 153.221. Congratulations, Ster, on your records here this month.
Up next, we'll have a look at one of the most exciting back and forth world record battles so far this year. On May 12th, Army achieved his first world record on Water Park, improving Alberto's time by 23 milliseconds to set a 140.574, which was quickly followed up by a 140.536. On May 13th, Alberto came back to reclaim his record with a 140.531. He was actually behind Army for most of this run but beat him because of better ending hops. This lasted for 15 minutes, when Army took the record back with a 140.517. This had an average pace, but not the best lap 3. The next day, Alberto actually tied his record. He was over 0.1 behind Army going into lap 3, but had a very good lap 3, which brought in the tie. The next day, Army improved to a 140.488, which Alberto actually tied again with his own 140.488. This run unfortunately had a 33-second lap 3. Later the same day, Army improved by 86 milliseconds to a 140.402, which once again had a bad pace but a great lap 3. The next day, Alberto improved this by just 1 millisecond to a 140.401. This run was fairly similar to Army's but had slightly more consistent splits. Alberto was actually a bit behind at the end of lap 3 but barely beat him because of better hops and risking it going very close to the wall on the left. And then finally, after several days of an intense back and forth battle, Alberto would prevail as he improved by 113 milliseconds to set the record at a 140.288. This actually happened just 2 attempts after the 401. It was a much better run with a really nice lap 1 and great driving on lap 2 apart from not so good stairs. Lap 3 was also great. This track can still go down if the gliders are better and the stairs on lap 2 are fixed, but it would be really difficult. The best known splits currently give a 140.117. Alberto says he's unsure if he wants to play this track again, and most likely he won't until he gets beaten. Congratulations to both Army and Alberto on your records here this month.
For those that remember from March, Alberto went on a rampage on Cloudtop Cruise, taking Nasuno's record from August 2020 and improving 11 times. Well, on May 15th, Nasuno reclaimed his record, beating Alberto's time by 37 milliseconds to set a 200.248. Nasuno said that lap 1 was average for him. Lap 2 was pretty solid except for the ending bounce, which Nasuno said might have cost a 0.4 lap, but the 0.522 was still really good and made him really nervous. On lap 3, the turn after the second bounce was bad, losing around 30 milliseconds. Nasuno also said that he could have used the shroom a little bit earlier, but overall, given that he was nervous, this lap wasn't too bad. There is a pace lock on lap 3, but Nasuno says that a 0.1 is definitely possible. The best known splits give a 200.105. Congratulations to Nasuno on your record here this month. On May 20th, Mochi came back to GBA Mario Circuit and beat Chlorine's record by 103 milliseconds to set a 123.887. This cut is very impressive and an unexpected world record from Mochi here. The ending nisks were very tight and fast, and very little time was lost in the rest of the driving, but the run had the most room for improvement on the turn after the anti-gravity. A week later, Chlorine came back to reclaim his record, setting a 123.879. In this run, lap 2 wasn't the greatest, but laps 1 and 3 were good and allowed Chlorine to clutch the record. In general, Chlorine's turns are slightly better, but Mochi's ending nisks are cleaner. The best known splits give a 123.813. Congratulations to Mochi and Chlorine on your records here this month.
The last track improved in 150cc was Grumble Volcano. On May 22nd, Panda improved his record by 83 milliseconds to set a 153.482. The two main differences in this record are that it switched to babies and implemented Motion Glider. In terms of the laps, lap 1 was a good lap with no major flaws, but the ending nisc wasn't perfect. Lap 2 was a very good lap, similar to lap 1, but had less driving mistakes. The ending nisc still wasn't perfectly fast, but good enough. Lap 3 was the best lap of the run, mainly carried by a very fast and risky ending nisc. Overall, this run is pretty good for a first baby run, although the niscs still need to be fixed up, similar to his last heavy world record here. Panda says he thinks babies make the track easier in some aspects, but in some spots more precision is needed. He didn't actually expect to get the record on this run, but the last nisc was done so well that he clutched it out and surprised himself. Babies being introduced here means he can hopefully bring the track down further than he was willing to go with heavies. The best known splits with babies are faster than heavies, giving a 153.321 compared to a 153.408. So Panda is hoping to continue improving here. Congratulations Panda on your record here this month.
And that ends it for 150cc this month. However, just like usual, 200cc video will be out very soon, so be sure to give that one a watch when it releases. See you all then for part 2 of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe World Record Review, May 2021.